Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. Now in this video I'm going to explain what's going on with the market, and particularly the altcoins, where there's a lot of concern about whether or not the bull market is cancelled, particularly for the altcoins. Now I make a video about this type of topic like every couple of weeks because people are still freaking out, and I'm going to give you a bit of copium that you can use to help you get through this. But first, my name is Dave. I make videos about debanking using cryptocurrency. If you're interested in learning how that works, you can subscribe to my channel, but let's get into the video. So as we can see here, Bitcoin's been going sideways for ever since it reached its peak at $108,000, and no one's really complaining about the price action of Bitcoin. I mean, it's overperformed, reaching new all-time highs at the time of the halving last year, which shocked a lot of people. But most people are really concerned about what's going on with the altcoins. With the exception of Ripple and Dogecoin, everything else is really in the loo right now. If we look at Ethereum has not even reclaimed successfully its previous all-time high, and the last time we had a major run-up, it simply double-topped and has capitulated since then. And myself and a lot of other people speculated that, by this time in the bull cycle, we should start to see the altcoins move, but it's been the opposite. So one of the biggest reasons has been this whole Trump coin thing. I mean, it's not the only reason, but the most noticeable impact recently was the Trump coin, and as we can see, it's gone down significantly in value. But for those that remember what it was like when they opened up CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap or whatever, you open it up and you just see that this coin, this new meme coin, was suddenly worth like $50 billion at its highest. What was it worth at its highest for market cap wise? So not 50 billion, but it was, all the way up to 13 billion, and it completely sucked the life out of all the other meme coins in particular, but also other altcoins. Solana was lucky enough to get quite a nice bump, but as the Trump meme coin sold off, so too did Solana. So Solana wasn't too positively impacted long term, but for the most part, everything, and especially Ethereum, has been just absolutely devastated since Trump coin's wake. But it was already on a downward decline. So going on to the technicals, so we've been bouncing between this channel for some time, and we've been respecting it since November 2022. We've had this strong line of support until around November 2024, just a few months ago, where we just broke below it, and then we came back and retested it. And this is usually a surefire way to see that we've broken a trend. And when we broke below this this channel, it looked like the Bitcoin dominance would continue to fall, and that would have a really positive impact on Ethereum and all the other altcoins, and would start to see the beginning of the altcoin bull market. But as you can see here, we continue to just trend up, testing this trend line, and we just broke back into this channel, which was something that was very unlikely to happen. And this channel break was because of what I mentioned. This huge green candle here that allowed us to break through into the channel was because of this Trump coin thing, and that has completely just drained the altcoin market, and it looks like we're just going to go back into this channel. Now guys, before I continue to go on, I just want to shout out Local CoinSwap. It's a place where you can buy cryptocurrency without KYC, using practically any payment method you can think of. Everything from cash by mail, cash in person, or you can do digital payments like TransferWise, Revolut, all the ways in which you can't buy cryptocurrency on centralized exchanges like Binance, Bybit. You can do so on Local CoinSwap. You can also do so on hodlhodl.com. I've got referral links in the description down below if you're interested in that. So getting back to the video, I also want to point out what's going on with Bitcoin as well. So Bitcoin dominance is not looking good, but actually what's even more not looking good right now is actually just Bitcoin in general. Now, Bitcoin is not really something that everyone's complaining about right now, because it's fine if it goes sideways. It hasn't really crashed down to low levels or anything like that. But I'm seeing something on the horizon here that doesn't bode too well. So what we've got here is a bearish divergence, and how that works is when you've got a peak and a lower peak on the RSI, but on the price is a high and a higher high. And as you can see, the last time that we had this on the weekly, we unfortunately coincided with the end of the previous bull run, right? So as we can see here, we had a high on the price, then we had a higher high on the price, but on the RSI we had a high, and then we had a lower high, and we're currently seeing that in formation here, and we're just currently waiting for that to play out. So just purely on the technicals, Bitcoin looks like it could be in some trouble in the short term. Now, even though I mentioned all these things, there are things that I'm still very bullish about, and I'm certainly not selling my Bitcoin. In fact, I'm hoping that if we do go through a bit of a turnaround, and we go into a bit of a bearish mini cycle during this bull run, I hope that just means I've got more time to buy more Bitcoin. I don't think it's too bad. I'm more concerned about what's going on with the altcoins. But regardless of that, something that's got me positive is the fact that with Trump, he's really intent on lowering the interest rates. Now, one of the slides that we had in the altcoin market, one of the large precipitators of altcoins being much more bearish than in the past was when there was a decision to not continue to lower the interest rates because of inflation. This was because of a Fed meeting back in December. Now, from like October, where is it? As we can see, from October, all the way to December, the altcoins were booming, Bitcoin dominance is falling. Then we had this news about the Fed pausing, lowering in the interest rates, and then we started to see this trend reversal. So really, at its core, the most important factor when it comes to the price of Bitcoin and especially altcoins and other risk assets like tech stocks is whether or not the money supply, whether money is basically going to get cheaper or not. The lower the interest rates are, the more the borrowing is going to be, the more cash that will go into circulation, and the increase in the dilution of the value of money. And that is the biggest precipitator of tech stocks and especially crypto going up. So when investors started to see that this might not happen in the way that was expected going into 2025, they became a lot more bearish, and they started being a little more risk off. They started selling off on tech stocks, Bitcoin, stuff like that. But that magic could come back soon because Trump is absolutely serious about lowering interest rates again. This is a tweet that he made just recently. Interest rates should be lowered, something which would go hand in hand with upcoming tariffs. Let's rock and roll, America. Now, he's so serious about this. The one impediment is the current Fed chair, Jeremy Powell, who probably for political reasons has less incentive to be aligned with Trump. After all, the Federal Reserve, unlike other government agencies, is actually technically an independent agency. Hashtag audit the Fed. It's its own separate organization. So Trump can't really force Jeremy Powell to do his bidding, but we're probably going to see some push from Trump to try and force his hand at some stage. And if he can do that, if he can actually have his way, then we could see interest rates lower, and that's going to have the biggest impact on the altcoin market. And to be honest, Trump has pretty much gotten everything that he's wanted in just 2 weeks of him being president. It's unreal. All of his nominee appointments have gotten into office so far, with the exception of RFK, which is probably likely to happen soon. Elon Musk is just going absolutely crazy, like with his Doge. Trump has got, the judiciary, the House, the Senate, the executive. I don't think we've had a president in the US that's been this powerful. I don't know, maybe since Eisenhower or something like that. Like he's had a lot more power than Reagan, more than Nixon. I don't think we've had a president that has been bestowed with the powers of a king in such a long time. Like, I don't know, maybe since FDR or something like that. Like, Trump has gotten so much power. I think this is a very, very small obstacle. If he wants to get lowered interest rates, I think it's going to happen at some stage. And when we start getting this, a much more dovish stance towards interest rates, I think that's when we're going to see people suddenly regain interest in the alts again, and I'm quite certain this is something that's going to happen, and considering this is a bull cycle, I don't think this is the kind of news that would get ignored, and probably things are going to turn around, but I don't know if it will be soon. Again, like, I'm a little bit bearish on the technicals right now, but at the end of the day, you should buy when it's a little bit bearish. You know, now is the time, you know, whilst it's consolidating, whilst the market's a bit panicky, whilst there's a lot more fear than greed, now is kind of the time to be, you know, snapping up some cheap Ethereum, cheap Solana, if you're into altcoins, you know, or getting relatively cheap Bitcoin. You know, this could truly be the last time Bitcoin is under 100K. So, you know, make of it with what you will. And just another thing I want to mention as well is that I want you to focus on just how important it is for Trump to lower interest rates and how much of a goal it is for him. So Trump's second admin wants to simultaneously devalue the dollar while doing massive tariffs, which seems paradoxical until you realize the goal is to force the US neighbors in North America and the EU nations to cease their baby steps towards replacing the US with Russia/China. Now, America has been declining in its hegemonic status for some time, and the BRICS is a real threat to that status. China has taken over the world in terms of manufacturing capability, becoming the number one trading partner in all of the world. And with BRICS, it's now there's the political reality of an alternative currency potentially replacing the US dollar, and there's a number of other, like, you know, geostrategic realignments that are happening in the world, and it seems that Trump is trying to secure, you know, American dominance for the next century, and a big part of that is getting those manufacturing jobs back to America, because, you know, these jobs have been taken overseas for a long time, ultimately weakening the true strength of its economy. And the way to do that is it's got to lower its dollar, and if the dollar is too high, then ultimately there's no need for, like, these large multinational corporations to re-onshore their factories back in America because it's too expensive. Why not do it in Vietnam, you know, where it's really cheap? But if they can do it in the US, because it becomes cheaper, then it will become worthwhile. So part of it is that Trump is inflationary. He wants interest rates to go down. He wants the dollar to go down. It's going to make the stock market go up. It's going to make countries around the world more interested in importing American goods. It's more likely to make multinational corporations to re-onshore the factories back in America. So politically, Trump is completely aligned with inflationary economic policies, right? Which is ultimately going to be good for risk-on assets like Bitcoin, like altcoins, like other tech stocks. And on one final note before I sign off here, I just want to remind you that ever since Trump was elected, Ethereum ETF inflows have skyrocketed. And it's not a coincidence that it really took Trump becoming president for investors to start taking Ethereum seriously. Prior to that, I think there just wasn't an appetite for it, you know? Like, Bitcoin was already risk-on enough for them, and they were willing to go through with it whether or not Biden was going to become president. But now that Trump is president, it seems that most of these institutional investors are of the belief that risk-on assets are going to benefit from Trump's term. So take that for what you will. These are the smart investors. I think it's always worth keeping up with what the people with the most alpha and the most intelligence are doing. So yeah, make that for what you will. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. Again, if you want to buy cryptocurrency without KYC, using any different payment method that you want, go to localcoinswap.com, use my referral link in the description down below, and I'll see you next time.